Welcome to the Rectory in Garden. I'm going to give you a tour of my bookshelf. My bookshelves in my study, which is over here. Go inside. As you can see, there's a large bookshelf on this side of the room, which wraps around. This was installed by my predecessor in Garden, Pater Cosmos, as were with these smaller bookshelves and an L here. The smaller bookshelves are double-sided, so there's books on either side of them. Okay, so let us begin. This shelf here is Sacred Scripture and the Sacred Liturgy. At the top you have some reference works, and you have Robert Alter's translation of the Old Testament, which is my favorite English translation of the Old Testament. Then you have some editions in the original languages and some translations, including Martin Luther's German translation, which is probably the most beautiful translation into a modern language. Some more translations, including Richmond Lattimore's New Testament. That's my favorite English New Testament translation. Some commentary and so on. And then we get the liturgical books, including Fortescue, Jungmann, and so on. And there are more liturgical books over in that wardrobe thing over there. A little bit more liturgy up there, including the black one is a Cistercian missal. Very beautifully printed. In fact, let's pull this one out. This is printed in Westmalle in Belgium by the Trappists. Typical of that period, early 20th century. Then we have magisterial texts. This here is a very good translation and edition of Catholic Social Doctrine by Utz and von Galen. And I have one volume of Carlin's edition of the Papal Encyclicals in English. I need to get the other volumes. Danziger, Vatican II and so on. Pope John Paul II, including stuff he wrote before he became Pope. Then Pope Benedict XVI, including stuff he wrote before he became Pope. Continued up here, including some secondary literature on him. More papal documents. Catholic social teaching, secondary literature. And then I started chronological ordering of the shelf. Up here you have the ancient Greeks, Homer, Hesiod, Pre-Socratics, Plato, Aristotle. The ethics volumes are missing because I taught a class on the ethics today. They must be in my briefcase, including some secondary stuff. Greek mathematics, Ptolemy, Euclid, Apollonius. Then we got Plutarch. Then already a little bit of Latin, Livy. And down here below there's some reference works, dictionaries and so on. The Lexikon für Theologie und Kirche, an excellent theological encyclopedia. More Latins. Then some barbarians, Germanic sagas and so on. And then we get into the fathers of the church, Augustine, Benedict, with a little bit of the secondary literature that's most relevant, that doesn't fit as much into further shelves further down the line. The Quran, of course, Bernard of Clairvaux, and this very nice edition by Father Gerhard Winkler of Stift Wilhering. It's German, Latin on facing pages. You see, you got the Latin on the verso page and the German on the recto page. Then more Cistercian Fathers and other medieval stuff. Down here we have St. Thomas. This is the German edition of the Summa Theologiae, which has the Latin as well, and commentaries of very mixed quality, some very good, some not so good. More St. Thomas. And then Thomism. The Thomism is stuck here out of chronological order because it's considered secondary literature to St. Thomas. So even though this is mostly 20th century stuff, it's here in the 13th century section. Excellent book by Jacob Wood on the problem of nature and grace. Marcus Berquist, his collected essays. Richard Berquist, his new book on natural law. Josef Pieper. And then later medieval stuff, Remigius Florentinus, Giles of Rome, Dante, of course. And then we get into the Renaissance, Machiavelli, all that stuff. St. Thomas More. My Austrian grandfather is a jurist, Wolfgang Waldstein, and he has a great devotion to St. Thomas More, and he gave me his Thomas More edition. Counter-Reformation, Edmund Campion, John of the Cross, and then Francis Bacon, Shakespeare. I really like these little orange editions of Shakespeare. They are English editions, but for German speakers. So you have the text in English, and then you have German notes. And they're just the right size for an edition of Shakespeare. Galileo, Kepler, Milton. Pascal. Alphonse Liguori, Lavoisier, and so on. Kant. Fichte. This edition of Fichte was given me by Pater Simeon, my confrere, when he became prior of our priory up in Germany. He gave me his Fichte edition. These books, of course, belong to our monastery, but they are ad usum patris et mundi, meaning I have the use of them. Hegel, Jane Austen. I only have 2 Jane Austens here in the shelf, but don't worry, I've read all of her novels. I read them, the ones that belonged to my parents, in days gone by. I should complete the collection, however. Newman. Kierkegaard. Nietzsche. This Nietzsche edition was also given to me by Pater Simeon when he became the prior of Neuzelle. Marx. Jean-Henri Fabre, great French entomologist. Columba Marmion. Max Weber, Laura Ingalls Wilder. Hilaire Belloc. Thérèse of Lisieux, G.K. Chesterton. Maurice Baring, Rilke, Ludwig von Mises. This was given to me by an economist who visited our monastery, and he was disturbed by what he considered my foolish views on economy, so he gave me all these volumes of Mises. I haven't read them though. P.G. Wodehouse. I read hundreds of P.G. Wodehouse novels when I was a teenager, but I only have one on the shelf here. Guardini. Wittgenstein. Heidegger. Dietrich von Hildebrand. I have a lot of him. I think my grandfather gave me this mostly. My grandfather was a friend of Dietrich von Hildebrand. Johannes Mester, the great Austrian social ethicist, and then Tolkien, of course. I got these Folio Society editions of Tolkien. The Lord of the Rings ones I got secondhand, and then I got the Silmarillion new. Kantorowicz, Delubach, C.S. Lewis, Leo Strauss, Jacob Klein, Jacques Lacan, Hans Jonas, Adorno, and this, I have a whole lot of Adorno, but it was all given to me by Pater Simeon, whom I mentioned before. Then we come around here, some moral, the smaller shelves are not really ordered chronologically, they're more sorted according to different subjects. It's mostly recent stuff. And I begin with moral theology here, because that's nominally my field. Bernhard Hering, a really bad moral theologian. A lot of recent moral theology is worthless. Karl Hermann, he was a moral theologian in Vienna. Yep. Eberhard Schockenhof. It's a disaster. Andreas Laun is comparatively good. And then some fundamental and dogmatic theology. Here we have Hans Urs von Balthasar, Luigi Giussani, some more sort of communio school stuff, Heiligenkreuz stuff, some other random theologians, radical orthodoxy. Here we have some more recent philosophy, Hannah Arendt. Robert Spemann. Alistair McIntyre. Charles Taylor. Some postmodernism. Remy Bragg, and there we have some juridical stuff. These are my grandfather's books. Some other juridical books. Economics. And then history. Various stuff. Austrian history during the wars and between the wars. Ignaz Seipel, great Austrian politician of the interwar period. Some more history, recent history, and sort of pop political books. Children's books from when I go to the kindergarten in Gaden. And then some periodica of various kinds, including the lamp. So we'll come around over to this side again. Over here we have mathematics and recent works in natural science. All right. And then literature, recent literature. Thomas Bernhard, strange Austrian writer. These shelves are much less organized, and there's a lot of free space, as you can see, so there's room for additions. Marilyn Robinson. Some more American literature, and here's David Foster Wallace, about whom I wrote my dissertation. So there's a lot by him and a lot about him. For some reason, Walter Benjamin is over here. He should be over by recent philosophy. Yeah, and that is pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the tour. Here's some canon charts, altar charts, and a crucifix. God bless you.